Okay, so I have got a treat for you all this afternoon. It is Thursday the 22nd of October, and I'm absolutely incredibly blessed by somebody that I actually call a mentor. I met Vicky Sweetlove in some point last year. I don't even know, everything seems to be all confused right now, but I met Vicky last year at a course around medical intuition, and it was very interesting. One of my girlfriends in Australia had been talking to me about the Akashic Records constantly saying she wanted to find somebody to read them for her, and I just kept being told, you need to learn Akashic Records, like you need to understand them, you need to know what they're about. Literally walking out of this course, talking to Vicky, and no surprise, she is it a fourth generation Akashic?
Fourth generation Akashic record reader, yes. I learnt in Bali.
Amazing.
And it goes back in history to a school in America, Mary Parker. And she started it in Odessa, and from there I was then taught by another chap who I learned in Bali, and then I'm the fourth generation, so whoever learns with me, it will be the fifth generation.
Which is amazing, absolutely amazing. And for anybody who doesn't know anything about the Akashic Records, we'll go into it a little bit in a little while, but I just wanted to just let everybody know what we're dealing with here. We've got a very special energy. Honestly, having met Vicky in person and done a couple of Akashic record readings with her, and also done one of her courses, the energy that Vicky brings is just amazing. And when I reached out, I did not expect Vicky to say yes, because she's not a fan of putting her face on social media, and I was extremely blessed, and I'm very, very thankful to you for saying yes to do this, because I truly believe that the world needs to see you, Vicky. I just think that you've got such a beautiful energy, and the world needs to see more of it, especially right now with what's going on around the planet, which obviously we'll get into as well. So just a couple of things that I wanted to share with people. So Vicky is a vibrational alchemist, past life and soul coach, qualified shamanic practitioner, and obviously, as we've just said, a fourth generation reader of the Akashic Records. So she is a gift to the planet. For any of you that aren't not too sure of what some of those mean, don't worry, we're going to cover as best we can, as much as we can, over the course of this interview. So Vicky, we obviously met doing the medical intuition course at some point last year, and since then, obviously I came on your one of the parts of your Akashic record course, and I've actually had 2 readings with you myself, which were just incredible. Absolutely loved them. Tell me, let's start with the Akashic Records. It probably makes sense because I've spoken about those. Could you just give everybody a little bit of insight into actually what the Akashic Records are? Because a lot of people, I think, believe the Akashic Records are like tarot cards.
No, that's the big mistake. The Akashic Records is all about receiving guidance.
Yeah.
It's working in sacred prayer. I open up the sacred prayer for myself, and I open up the sacred prayer for the client I'm reading for. And it's a special prayer that's been generated, from all these years ago. And because you are opening it up in that special place, you're opening up your meditation first. I always ground and meditate so that I'm connected, grounded to Mother Earth, open to Father Sky, and open to my heart energy, because you need to be heart-centered these days. People are too airy-fairy, up in their heads, and think, oh, the meditation is it, and then they float away to nothing. You need to be grounded and in your heart space. And then the Akashic Records, when I connect to the Akashic Masters, it is all about receiving guidance. And that's why I always say to people, it's about preparing your questions into how, what, and when questions, not why. Because when you go down the why route, it's about procrastinating. So you never move forward from that why. You always keep procrastinating and do that same story. Whereas if you truly want to move forward, no matter what's happening in your life, you can move forward from relationships that are broken down, the job that you haven't got anymore. If there's people around you that you feel are holding you back in your life at all, you can go back into the records and ask, you know, did you have a past life with them? Is there a connection I need to clear between this person and myself for us to move forward? And then they do a heart healing meditation where I go back into the records, and it's like a journey through the book of time. But they help with everything from health to wealth to healing. Just a journey of an hour reading can help everybody. And I've had so many messages coming through now with my dreams, and when I teach the courses recently. I did the Akashic Records last weekend. It was the Akashic Records 2, which is about the Akashic Records of place and people, as well as working with the energy of the person. And we went to the Esteric Museum in Islington. And whilst I was there, we did pick up different energies on the different floors, and we were shown different statues, some with their eyes half closed, and different energies from European pictures that looked, you know, a bit dark, a bit musty. And then we went down to the ground floor where it was all brought in about working with cloth and materials through the age. But it only goes back this century. It's not going back through pages and pages of time. It's only like from 1900s to the present time. But what was shown to me was quite significant. I was shown in this case, what drew my eye to it was I'd asked, well, what am I here for? What do you need me to see or know at this present time? Because it is about reading the signs. The Akashic Records isn't a magic potion. It's not about, okay, I'm not sure if I can go with that answer or whatever. It's about reading the signs and synchronicities that you get afterwards, so that you can continue that story, continue the guidance.
And I think it's really important to say just on that point, Vicky, that it's not going to tell you what to do. It's exactly what you're saying. It's guidance. It's not you've got to do this if you want to get that. And I think sometimes people get a little bit confused with that.
Yes, it's not the case of manifesting anything. It's about using the guidance that they're giving you. They can give you the different scenarios. So if you have choices to make in your life, it's about offering those choices. And sometimes, you know, even when you've got choices, you can make the wrong choice. Whereas the Akashic Records will actually give you the guidance as to which way to go, how to do it, what's the best way, and the kind of people that will help you on that journey. Because we all need those noble people and helpful friends in our lives. We can't always go through life doing things on our own, which a lot of us do. You need to actually have the help from other people on that journey.
Yeah, which was being shown very clearly at the moment. I know when we spoke last week or whenever it was, that it's all about collaborations now. And I've very intuitively in the last few months, been looking to do these kind of sessions with people, because I think the world needs to see that the communities are being pulled together and that collaborations are coming, you know, and this is the way of the future. This is the way that we're going to evolve as human beings. And I just think it's incredible that they help with that. So just going back to the story that you were just saying about last week, was it last week or the week before?
It was last weekend.
So last weekend's Akashic record reading. Could you just give us...
It was the course I was teaching.
Yeah.
So I was teaching the Akashic Records Part 2.
Yeah.
And it's the only one that we could go and do a site visit on, because it's about feeling and sensing the energies of place, but also asking the Akashic Records of that place to give us the information of what we need. Yeah. And it was only at the end that I asked the Akashic Records of place, what is it that I need to see? What is it specifically that I'm here for? Because I did have another choice to go to the Regent's Museum along the canal at King's Cross, but I was guided to go to this particular place. They said, no, it's this place. And so you always know what you're in the right time, right place.
Yeah.
So when I was looking in this glass case, I noticed the dates, August 1953, which is when my parents were married. But then I saw the calendar in front of me. And it's like where we are now in time. It had the dates of September and October, and it looked quite bright for October. But then underneath two bits of paper, which were sort of arch-shaped like this, November was slightly hidden. And then not only that was November hidden, but December and January were also hidden. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that is hidden at the moment, being unseen and not being told. So we need to be aware of that, sort of be prepared as well for maybe the dark times that we think are ahead of us, but not make it a dark time. Make it the light and bright time, because we can change what we're thinking. We can change our thoughts. We can change our lives. By seeing this, it made me think, okay, we don't have to be that darkness. We can be the light. We can change that and bring the brightness in. And then the next part of the calendar they showed me was coming into February, March, April. It was getting brighter. They showed flowers on the calendar. And then May and June, it was the red roses, the brightness, and everything that we want. So the energy is about to change, but we need to be going with the flow, getting ourselves in a position where we can be ready to do what we want to do. But it's about acknowledging one another, going with the signs, and if we see people that need help, help them, reach out, show them the way, show them that there's light from this darkness, because we have to get through this together.
Absolutely.
And that's what they were showing me, that people need to be aware that there is a way through.
Yes.
And that's what this was showing me. There's a way through.
What a message. What a message to receive, especially right now, because, you know, Vicky was just telling me before we started recording, Vicky was just sharing this exact story with me, and I was blown away, because for anybody that's been following me or listening to the recent videos on YouTube, I've been very strongly guided of exactly what you've just said. We're going to get to February time next year, and that's when we're going to start to see things shifting. I see next year as a huge year of disclosure. So the things that maybe are hidden right now will start to come to the surface, which is why the energy will start to shift. I'm not saying it's going to get better at that point. Let's be honest about it, because normally when stuff comes to the surface, it actually gets worse. Let's be honest about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm really taking some hope and some positivity out of what you're sharing for, you know, the spring and moving into the summer. That just, and it feels right. It feels like it's aligning right with the messages that I've been receiving as well. So that's just, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So I've actually done part 3 of the Akashic Records with you, didn't I? And we actually went to the which museum did we go to?
That was part 2 as well that you did. That's at the Hendrix and the Handel Museum.
That's the one. Now, it was so fascinating. It was such a wonderful day. And where you think the energy is going to be, because you've got a perception of a human being and you think, oh, they're light and they're bright and they're this. But actually, in reality, when you go into their space, you get the real energy. Like when you connect into it and when you know how to connect into it, it's actually extremely profound. And I always thought that Hendrix would be, because he was so out there and, you know, so upbeat, but actually energy in his space was heavy.
And also Handel as well.
Yes.
A lot of loneliness.
Yes.
Not wanting to be seen.
Yes.
He was hidden away.
And it was very sad, Handel's, wasn't it? It was very
sad.
It really pulled on my heartstrings when we were in there, to the point that I actually had to get out. Jimi Hendrix was very much, I felt like addiction and just the heaviness of drugs and things like that when I was in his place. But Handel's was just like, it really put loneliness. It was just
feeling of isolation and being locked up.
Yeah, which is again quite fascinating for what we're going through right now.
Yeah,
you know, because there's probably a lot of people out there that can recognize that pull on the heart, and it was draining. You know, it was draining. So imagine living in it. For some people, they've been living in it for the last since March, because they've been too scared to go out, or they're on the vulnerable list and they don't want to risk it. Very interesting.
The thing of coming out of there though was that we all noticed a big butterfly on the wall, didn't we?
Yes.
So it was like we've come out of the caterpillar and we've come into the chrysalis and then the butterfly. So the signs were there. You know, you can be that butterfly. You can evolve from that darkness again.
Exactly. And actually what you've just said there is amazing, because I look for signs in everything. If I all of a sudden have a bird outside my window, I'm like, oh, I need to make a note of what bird that is, because I can then feel into what messages they're bringing to me. I look for signs in everything. And I really feel if us as human beings could start to do that, we would start to see the positivity even in the dark.
That's true. That's true.
Mm.
Because there is positivity in dark. It's yin and yang. You've got to have that balance of yin and yang. If you don't have that balance of light and dark, then there is no life. If you want everything to be positive and light, it's not light, because there's an imbalance. Absolutely. So you have to have that balance in life.
Yeah, and this is why when people get depressed or anxious or something like that, it's because they don't quite have the balance of, or the understanding, or at least this is what a few people have said to me. It's almost like they want to be up all the time, and because they can't be, it's like they sink into this feeling and then they spiral out of control. I mean, it's, you know, the polarity is such an important thing in life. As a human being, you know, we have to have this polarity.
It's about changing our thoughts as well. You know, a lot of us have been thinking, you know, that you're stuck in a rut, we can't go forward, we can't do this. But if you change that and acknowledge that, okay, well, what can I do?
Yes.
How can I reinvent my life?
Yes.
What else can I do instead of this? How can I move forward? And then what I'm finding is that everybody can choose a different direction in life.
Yes.
And when you motivate and choose that direction, there's no brick walls anymore. And also, if you hear a negative thought or people are saying things to put you down, you can brush it off far more easily, because you are on a new journey.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to hear those things or feel them or sense them, but you don't have to retaliate either. You can let it go.
Yeah.
And when you learn to let it go from your heart, because it's about remaining heart-centered, not in your head.
Yes.
Let go of ego.
Yeah.
Your heart will tell you everything. It's about being here in this space.
Absolutely. And it's very much so, you know, just to say it in a slightly different way for because some people won't probably quite comprehend that we all live in ego. So it's recognizing when you're in a victim state, because the why questions are very, very victim. You know, why is this happening to me? Why? And actually it holds you in a space of creating more of that. Whereas if you can tweak, like Vicky was just saying, into the what's, or, you know, what is the lesson I need to learn here, or what can I do? The whole dynamic, even the frequency, even as I say that, my vibrational frequency in my body feels so different.
That's right. It's how you can move forward with a different frequency.
Exactly.
You know, learning to love yourself, love others around you, and love the situation you're in.
Exactly.
Everything you do, if you give it an essence of love, forgiveness, gratefulness, being blessed, everything, no matter what it is, even for a red light, know that the red light is to stop you from going forward to do something that you shouldn't be doing. Yes. It's guidance.
And even when things are going wrong, you know, so like recently, I'm going to use a recent example of mine. I was with my family in a court case for 8 days, it's a long court case. And even that, although it wasn't a nice situation to be in, I was giving thanks for it constantly. Okay, I know that I need to go through this so that at some point in the future, I know what I'm doing. That's what I look at everything now. I don't think, oh my God, why me? Why is this happening to my family? I'm like, okay, clearly there's something I've got to learn here. And it's not easy when somebody's passed, or when somebody's in court, or, you know, there's lots of different dark situations that happen in every day-to-day life. But what I have found is if you can flip your thoughts as quickly as possible and get into the space of, okay, I'm here for a reason. I'm being shown this for a reason. Let's figure out what that reason is. Life changes, and you do start to get the gold, because nobody's ever going to go through life with no challenges.
No, that's right. We learn from the challenges. That's how we get to move on. If we don't have challenges or have anything going on in our lives, how are we supposed to learn? How are we supposed to move on coherently, I suppose, with others?
It's all about growth, isn't it? We need to grow. you know, we're being watered by our challenges, and we're being fed, you know, the sunshine is the good stuff, we're being rained upon with the water, but both of those things make you grow.
Exactly, seeds of growth.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, that's a little bit about the Akashic Records. And obviously, Vicky, what we're going to do below here in the description, there's going to be all the contact details of how you can contact Vicky, how you can do her courses. Honestly, I do recommend the Akashic Record one. I've only done one of the 3 parts, but I'm going to finish it because it's amazing. I'm so fascinated by them. And also you can reach out for readings and stuff like that. But I've got the best bit for you. Vicky and I, when we were talking on email to obviously organise this, Vicky has been channeling some incredible information. She actually did a space clearing and earth alchemy course in London the weekend just gone. And wow, some of the information that she's got for us today is absolutely unbelievable. And her email made me chuckle because she kind of like gave me a bit of a synopsis and then went, but maybe that's not where we want to go with this. And I'm like, no, that's exactly where we want to go. So Vicky, talk to me a little bit first about the course that you run, because obviously people might be interested in it. And then please let's share some of the gold that has gone on and what you've recognised about London.
Well, it's come about. I've been connecting with the earth since I was a little girl. I had a great mother. We used to walk the woods and go out in the fields and everything. We always connected to Mother Nature and the earth. But it was teaching these courses, space clearing, earth alchemy. It was a couple of weeks ago we did this. And I'd already had some information from when we walked the equinox with some pilgrims of London, as it were, from the Gatekeeper Trust, as we walk the energies to give some balance to the energy of London at the moment, what everybody's going through. But particularly this 2 weekends ago, I was around the Hoxton area with my students. There's not many students at the moment, so please people don't think that I've got 12 people out there. I've got 3 or 4 at a time, so I'm within the limits. But we're in Shoreditch Park first of all, and then we moved to St John's Church in Hoxton. It's a church I've been to many times, and we were dowsing the chakras of the church. And I find that the chakras, if you tune into the chakras of any building, even your own home, then you can also heal the people or the place. So you'll heal the people with their own chakras if you heal the building chakras. So anyway, what was interesting was that I kept hearing heart and soul from my guides, and I'd also opened in the Akashic Records, and I thought, oh, heart and soul, okay. So when I looked further, I'd found the heart energy chakra, but they kept saying heart and soul to me, my guides. So as I came closer, I could see that they showed me pictures then of people having vibrant energy, good times, and it's a community picture with children. They've set up a little cafe area outside in a tent at this heart and soul chakra. And as I moved further through the chakras to the where I know there's an acupressure point stone at the end, I could see that would have been where the crown energy would be normally, but it turned toxic. There was old beer cans there was shoes and underpants and socks and all types of weird type stuff. You can imagine how toxic it was. So the energy of this church, it gathered from what I was seeing, that the priest and the vicars and everybody else that were going to this church were actually joining with the community. So where there would be the God spot, the crown energy, where the vicar would fill up on it all, is now sharing it with the community and the throng that's in the church. So they were all enjoying that crown energy as heart and soul. So it became more community. And then the crown was then getting rid of the toxins that had to be released from that particular area. And that was so profound. But when we turned round, we then noticed the shard in the distance, and that was the most profound thing, because a couple of weeks before, when we walked the equinox, we were connecting with the energy at St Paul's and walking our way through the city past the Bank of England and seeing how the buildings were associated. and we finished up in Canary Wharf. Now, when we finished up in Canary Wharf, you can see all the way across the Thames on the Greenwich Meridian line to where the Shard is and all the city buildings. And what I noticed mostly was that the new city buildings had surrounded the old ones in a curved shape of protection. And then you had the walkie-talkie building, and then another building, and then the Shard. And the Shard was standing right on the Meridian line.
Wow.
And to me, it looks as though it's acting as an acupuncture point or an acupressure point to release the toxic energy of London. Because since that building has been there, there's been a lot of things around London Bridge going on, with bombings, stabbings, and quite a lot of nasty things happening around London Bridge and around the Shard area. So it is releasing the toxins of London. But the other thing that I noticed was that Canary Wharf is now dead. A lot of the banks and the institutions that have been set up there are now empty. So the energy has changed with this Shard being put in that position. It's only been there a few years. So it's like the land is speaking to the architects, to the builders. This is what I need for this land to be put right. Because going back through the years as well, the other thing that came out was, I noticed that the Mayor of London, he wants to move his offices now out of London to out of London. So I'm thinking, okay, his office is actually around that part where the Shard is, so he must be feeling that toxicity and feeling unsafe.
And quite interestingly, just before you go on, Vicky, a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago now, I can't remember, there was actually a noise of a bomb being under London Bridge, which is really quite interesting because, again, it's another thing there. It's that area.
It is, yeah. It seems to be that area is releasing all the toxins that are necessary to relieve London's energies. And lots of people that are, light workers are working at the moment to raise the vibration, not just in London, but all around the world. It's very significant that people are raising the energy. But when the landscape gives you signs like this, as a geomancer, working with the energy of the land is showing me what the story is now, what's happening. And, it's how we can move forward with knowing how to read the land. If we can read the land where we live, our towns and cities, and read the story, then we can understand how we can improve with that energy and work with it. Because by knowing how the landscape wants to get well, wants to get better, and for the UK to thrive again as a whole, then we need to know what's happening with these energies. And I think it's a great shame if people don't acknowledge the land as it is.
I agree.
How it's starting to clean itself up.
Yeah.
How the energy is much cleaner now since there's no flight path so much. I mean, there's few planes going up and down.
Very few though, right?
But we've stopped travelling so much. And, that has helped the toxicity within the earth. There's bird song now, which is absolutely amazing. The animal kingdom seem to be more aware, and even the plant life is living longer.
Absolutely. And it's this beautiful wisdom that is coming through. We are so wise as human beings, believe it or not, we are so wise, we've just forgotten. And this is why I love hearing you speak, Vicky, and I know everyone's going to love hearing you, because it's the wisdom that you bring. And we should all be considering the earth. We should all be listening and hearing what Mother Nature is saying to us, because she's constantly talking to us. There's constant signs, but it's like we were saying earlier, just people are too busy to recognize the signs or whatever. So for me, this awareness, increasing the consciousness of the wisdom that we've got, that we can actually interact with the planet and actually see the pressure points in the towns that we're living in and in the countries that we're living in. It's just it's endless possibilities.
The other thing I need to mention is as well, if you feel drawn to go in a different direction, go in that different direction, because that direction you're meant to see something, a sign, something that will help you. When we were out doing the Akashic Records, we came out of the museum, and I thought this other building was actually the museum before we went there. And I felt very drawn to go there. Okay, I must go to that building. And as we walked around the corner, I thought, oh, what is this building? And it was a school. But the one thing about the school was there's a big sign outside saying True North. Find your true north. And when you think about what's happening in the world at the moment, especially in the UK, the north of the UK is having quite a lot of problems. Yeah. And I think it's because they have been speaking out. They are finding the truth. So it's finding the truth of the true north. Yeah. And we need to bring that into our awareness, you know, that there is no divide between north and south. We are all one. And we are being stunned by the media about what's happening. We're not being told things. It's all hidden, and we must not listen to radio and news and newspapers all the time. There's some evidence in there, but not everything is coming out. Not everybody is under this, you know, this sacred hat, as it were. And we've got to actually spread the word. And when I had that message coming through, and I'm thinking, okay, it's bringing back that energy of the north. And it's bringing back what we all need to know. But there's also the north in lots of different countries is having the same thing. When you look at Michigan State, that they are coming through now with their own government, their own laws, and they've won their case. Yeah. And we've got to do the same here. We've got to get our case heard in a law court that we can come through.
Absolutely. And actually it's quite interesting because there is a gentleman out there that has crossed my path recently through a friend called Simon Dolan, and he's actually been taking the government to court. The first time it got thrown out, but then he appealed it, and actually it's going through the process at the moment. But that's one person. You know, then we hear about these amazing guys in Liverpool in the last few weeks who they said, no, we're not going to close our gyms. Yeah. We're going to keep open, and we're going to get fined for it. And look what's happened. They've just got it overturned. Literally yesterday, they're all allowed to keep their gyms open, which is going to help people's mental health. Thank God. Like, thank God for these brave souls that are out there. And I find it so interesting, this thing about the North, because I see that too. I see it too in such a huge way. They're trying to carve out a division that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got to stop having this divide between people and places and everything else. We've got to realize that we're one energy, one vibration, and it's working with that vibration of everything, of all mankind, the earth, the peoples from everywhere, to just be one energy.
Absolutely. I'm just going to ask one more thing, actually, because I saw a girlfriend's post, I don't know, a few days ago now, and she was basically encouraging people to go out of their house and boo at the government. And I was like, no, we can't do that. No, that's too low vibrational. Like, let's go out and clap for our freedom and cheer for our freedom. And we're actually going to do it tonight for the first time. But what's been quite interesting is that there has been a lot of people that say that won't do anything. And from my perspective, increasing the vibration on the planet, even if it's just in your little small town, is a huge help to the planet. Would you agree with that?
Yes, totally. You know, whatever you do, whether it's a small thought, an action, kind word, everything is going to help to raise the vibration within yourself and everybody else. You know, it's acts of kindness is what we've got to bring into this world at the moment. And those acts of kindness will spread and get bigger, and the vibration will rise.
And I just want to let everybody know what a beautiful soul you are. So the first call that Vicky had a phone call whilst we were just talking earlier, and she actually rescued a pigeon earlier today who had been hurt. And she had the phone call from the RSPCA just to say that they'd picked the pigeon up and you know, they were going to go and look after it. And you know, that's the kind of beautiful vibration we want to be putting out there. Help the animals, help the aged, help your friends, help your neighbours. You know, this division that they're trying to create with, oh, if somebody's got more than 6 people, ring the police, or call the police if people do this, or have a go at somebody if they're not wearing a mask. How about we all just be kind to each other?
Exactly. We've got to work on that nice energy vibration. No matter if you don't like your next door neighbour, it doesn't matter. if you find that they need help or assistance or a kind word or a smile, then give it to them, you know, or go and cut their hedge or do their shopping, but do something, you know, an act of kindness in any form.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say cut their hair. I was like, oh, if anyone wants to come and cut my hair, please do, because I won't wear a mask to the hairdressers. I was like, oh, that's quite interesting.
Same here, same here.
I just need a little trim, honestly. I just want a little trim, but whatever. I can't go and sit somewhere where it's hot anyway and be like that.
Nor me.
Not good at all. Not good at all. So Vicky, if people want to reach out to you, obviously we'll put the details down below, and on your website you've got all of your course dates, you've got how to get in touch with you. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
It's just that I am running courses. I am trying to run them with people, and it's going to be small numbers, 3, 4, 5 at the most. Obviously I can't go above that at 6 with me. And I have been running my courses with just 2 people, because I want to keep that energy vibration with people so they can have an interconnection. Because I find if I do my course online, you're not going to feel or sense the energies. If I need to connect with you in any way, it's not the same on a screen, and I can't understand or feel your energy. So it's about sensing and feeling when we're together. I will be running some online classes, so just look out on my website for something coming in the future, not too distant future. But at the moment, everything is live. So if anybody fancies a trip into London, then please contact me, or an Akashic Records reading. I'm doing those on Skype.
Yeah, and I highly recommend all of the above. Honestly, I do. Just being in Vicky's presence in person, it is an experience in itself. You will learn so much about yourself. I had so much wisdom flying through me when we were blessed to spend the day together. But like I say, all of the details will be below. Do reach out to Vicky and book anything in that you so are drawn to be, you know, like, because whatever you're drawn to do, like, it's probably that you need to hear the message or get a message or something like that. So Vicky, thank you so much. I know this wasn't what you were like, oh, I'm not sure about this, but I'm so glad that you've done it. Honestly, I'm very, very grateful, and no doubt they will be asking for more from you. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do another one in the future. And yeah, I'm just going to press stop on the recording, and then we can finish off. Okay. Thanks everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We'll pop some links of how to subscribe and everything around. So thank you very much, guys.